Hi, everybody. It is Thick Thigh Thursday. I hope you're excited because I'm excited and I don't know why I'm singing. Okay, so while the processes, the social medias are telling me that I'm going live, let me just start talking here about perception, right? Like, we are talking today about what it's like, just the fact that, like, unfortunately, you have to interact with people and not really, unfortunately, right? But sometimes it feels that way, like, oh man, I have to go interact with folks. And I saw a meme that really made me think about this, right? Like, it's not necessarily that I have to go out and do the things, at least for me. Some people is like that, right? Some people, I just don't want anything. But it's more like I have to go out and then, like, people are gonna people at me. And I don't know how I feel about all that, right? Please, so is this you? Do you also feel this? Right? Like, oh man, like now I have to deal with people. I have to um talk about things. Like, people just want to talk about random stuff. People want to be in your way. It's busy. It's this, it's that. There's a lot of reasons why we like psych ourselves up and why we're like just not interested in being involved in space being taken up, in going outside, right? Like, and then for those of you, I don't know if you're like me, when the pandemic happened, the idea of like I could just stay inside, I could just stay inside and not interact with people, not have a problem, not go talk to people, not have to make small talk, not have to be in spaces with people that I don't like. This is amazing. Can I keep this? Can I do it forever? Right? Like, so if you're like me and that was something that you loved, the transition back out the house, woo, rough, right? And honestly, the transition back out the house was rough for everybody anyway, like just because it was a transition. But now we're in a space like, okay, this has been happening for a while. We've been forced out of our house for a while. We've been doing this for a while. What is it that really is holding us back? And tell me, I'm telling you that I feel like that meme really sums it up for me, right? Like, if I have to go outside, then I must be perceived. And it's like, but must I? Must other people think of me and refer to me? Yes, that's you, Monique, staying in the house. Me too, right? Like, that's it, just staying in the house. I'd much prefer it. I don't It's so few people inside my home. I'm so good with this. Right. But when you go outside, right? Like, this is the thing that I've always noticed. Like, so for me, I know that um I have always been a person, whether it's like the fact that it's like, I don't know, like I have big ass hair, or like I look different than people, or like, and then now I wear my brand shirts everywhere. So so now there's a conversation piece all the time. And to me it's like these are things that cause people to now interact with you. And I had to, especially when I transitioned to like my business and really trying to promote myself all the time, right? Wearing these shirts, having people talk to me about it, right? Like, it draws the eye, and I have to be willing to have those conversations. Um, and when I'm having the conversations, or when I'm interacting with people, or I notice that it catches their eye, or there's just a moment where I am now making contact with a new stranger. This is the moment where I'm like, oh, you can also see me. Wait a minute. Damn. Okay. Because up until that moment, I was just out. I was just running to the store. I was just going to Walmart. I was just trying to pick up some cheese, right? Like, I wasn't interacting in the world until that moment. I was just getting it done, right? So taking that moment to transition, I have noticed the difference between being here in Florida and being in New York. And then there's also other things that kind of go along with this, and things that I've like been realizing, right? So one person, I guess this resonates, right? Like, one person completely hit the nail on the head just to start. Um, where it's like, uh I moved from Connecticut. I moved from Connecticut to ATL, and child, these men be jumping like fish. And so that's a real thing, right? Like, these Southern men, I won't even say that they're aggressive, because I've had New York men. I'm from New York for real. New York men, definitely aggressive. Um, but it's very different, right? And I think it's because, like, there's in New York, there's just a million of us, right? A million people walking past and all this stuff. And then you get to get down here, get to different places, it's like there's less people to see, there's less interaction. So once I do see something that catches my eye for real, I need to speak to you. I need to interact with you. I need to be up in your space, right? And then like the concept of space, right? In New York, somebody up next to you is just mad normal and we move on. But like now I feel like if somebody's close to me, I really feel like they're close to me. And again, this is a matter of perception, like a matter of understanding the idea of space, understanding like relative to where you are. Um, and yes, this is a thing where, because somebody else said it too. I bet those Southern men love you. And like I have had a lot of that. And it is different to me. And it's funny because the conversations that I had with Clyde before I moved down, when we were starting to talk about this and saying, like, well, I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't know what the interactions with people are like. What are things that for me to keep in mind as far as dealing with people, because that is a real thing. I'm an adult and I should be seen as an adult no matter where I go. But that also means that certain societal expectations are put on me. So, like, I need to know how to act. Like, how do I act when this happens? And that's it. And I was cool with like understanding, like, I need to find this new space. Um, but like I also had the thought process and we've had the conversation that like honestly, if I grew up here, I feel like my life would have been different. Um Agreed. Yes. You feel me? I got some likes going up and I appreciate that. Like because this is real, right? Like there's a big difference between like growing up looking a certain way with your body shaped a certain way and in certain spaces. And I know that for myself. Like I've always said, I know even in New York, I know what blocks I could walk down and everybody will ask for my number. I know what blocks I walk down and nobody will even see me. They'd probably assume I was the help and never be concerned about me whatsoever. And I know where I would draw attention. I know what situations I could be in. I know those things. Here it's different, and I'm learning those spaces. And I have learned that like growing up and coming in like you living life here in a shapely body, right? Um in a thicker body is like, oh, so this is more positively received in general here, right? And so it's a different life. It's a different life, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying that that's not true, like growing up in the hood where I grew up, but it is different because I don't know anyone and it's just new. And it's like, oh, this is a lot of attention that I wasn't expecting to receive right now. I am being perceived as this person. And you are clear that this is a different type of person that you are. I'm not used to this shit. I'm not used to it. um and that doesn't mean I'm not used to getting like approached or whatever. It's just again, I'm used to a certain way of acting, right? Like a certain set of dialect. I'm just used to that. So shifting from New York to Florida, hearing what people have to say, being a part of the conversation, people noticing things like my logo, noticing things and having like just talking to me, right? So that's a thing in New York. In most department stores, you can go in, pick up what it is you need and leave without speaking to almost anyone. The cashier, maybe 3 words, right? Um Thank you for the likes because y'all know, right? So maybe that. And then when you get here, it's like you had a conversation with the lady at the table that was picking up candles and sniffing them next to you. You had a conversation with the guy that worked over by the fitting room because he was wanting to know. Like, just people will just talk to you. Like they have time to have conversations with strangers. What? Uh, to me, I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? But it is a matter of like, this is how you do. This is the culture. Again, I need to know how to act. It is not disrespect for them to talk to me, and it is disrespect for me to blatantly ignore people. This one I think is a funny one to tie into that. I miss what people were like back home. right? So this person said like they miss what like people were like back home. This is another person that that moved, made a big transition in life. And like it's funny that like that's one of those things that we this is the bias of familiarity, I think. I'm not saying that people are better or worse. I have no other information from what she put into that box, but the thing is that like it does depend, right? If you're not used to it and you don't like it, it's very uncomfortable. It really depends on why you moved. If you don't have a like a soft landing space when you jump, when you move somewhere, that's going to be hard. Right? Like I was ending a long distance relationship to make it a not long distance relationship. So I had a very soft place to land here. Um but I still don't have like a lot of friends people interact with here, go out with things like that. So like I'm figuring that out, right? And somebody else said something close related to that too. So I'll get back into that. Um, but like but I didn't come to a place where I didn't feel loved. I didn't come to a place where I don't have anyone to love me. That's just not true. That wasn't my situation. But if you did, like, say, move for a job, right? And you don't know anybody in this area, like, you could get to know the people from the job, and you should definitely interact with people to get to know folks. But, like, you don't have anyone there automatically. And that's hard. That's hard to deal with. And it's okay to be a little sad about it, to be a little bit depressed about it, to be stressed about it, to be uncomfortable with it if you're used to being a more social person, right? And I mean, honestly, even if you're not used to being a more social person, you had like three friends, but they all lived around the corner or you saw them all the time. Yeah, honestly, it's a very different thing. And now you're in a space where it's like, this is hard. And like, yeah, it's hard. Let it be hard. I got nothing else for you except yes, this is a difficult situation, and what you can do is work through it, right? So this was the one that I wanted to refer to next. It's hard to find friends in my new city. Again, I don't have the background information. This is not a person that said they're in Florida. They just said I in my new cities, right? So again, a transition, cool. If you make a transition, it's hard no matter what, right? Sorry. So what I was gonna say, and this is my thought here, and something that I need to take my own damn advice. Um, Start interacting, start taking time to go to places and do things where you have to interact with people. I know you. I lost you. I'm sorry. Bring it back in. Okay. If you want to make friends, you're going to have to interact with people somehow. Right now, if you're an internet person, if you're an online person, you want all your friends to be online and that's what it is, then cool. Then this shouldn't even be an issue. Talk to more people online. You should still have your own friends if online is best for you because they didn't go anywhere. Right. But if you're in a place where you're like, I want to get to know more people and I don't know what to do, and I don't like if you're here because you are a fan of yoga, come go to a yoga class, go to something an event, look up events near you. So it's not necessarily like you have to go to a whole bunch of stuff. But then also on the other side of that, find a yoga class that or and like insert class here, right? Understand that this is applicable no matter what you're doing, what you're into, right? Find a class that occurs every week, start going, start talking to people. And even if you don't talk to anybody till the third week, just week one, be happy, smile and wave at people. You don't have to say much. Okay. And then like week two, week three, if you feel like you're hearing conversations that draw you in, you're seeing people say, like wearing things that you think, oh, I'd like to hang out with somebody that dresses like this, right? Whatever it is, like if whatever attracts you to that person, allow your natural energy to be attracted to that person. This is a person that is already doing something you like to do. This is the best friend to have, right? And I will say this gives you a buffer. This is the introvert trick, right? It'll give you a buffer to where if this is a person that likes this stuff, right? Like, so again, I'm going to use the yoga class example. And again, pole class, I don't know, plant soiree, whatever it is, right? This is the person that likes that. You want to make friends. You like this. You're here. Y'all are both at this place consistently. You've noticed it. You have this in common at the very least, right? And then you think they're funny. You like having conversation. You like what they wear, whatever it is. Something draws you to them. This is a person that now, if you guys really hit it off, you could be doing everything together, everything you want. You could go to brunch, you could go out, you could go shopping, you could like trade recipes, whatever it is, right? That could be your new bestie. Or This can be someone that you have a really good time interacting with when you're here. Social battery, check. Right? You are allowed to control that. You are allowed to limit it. You are allowed to take whatever space you feel is appropriate, right? Like I feel like we try so hard to people please and do like act a certain way. Like I said, I need to know how to act in certain situations, right? But I also know that I'm not going to be people pleasing. I know that I'm not going to do that. Um at least I don't believe it. And we all fall into it, but whatever, right? I know that I want to act like this. I want to go this far. I want to interact with people in this way. I want to be perceived this way. And whatever happens with that is not in my control. I have no control over how somebody else views me because it's from their view, not mine. But I can control that part. I can present myself a certain way. I can have conversations with people. And then if I feel like I need to limit this and say, okay, you're a great friend for right here, just like work. People are work friends all the time. It's like, this is a work friend. I ain't never seen him outside. Okay. You don't have to, but while you're at work, do you have super convenient and like fulfilling conversations for a couple minutes? Absolutely. Beautiful. So glad you have that. But you don't need to bring them to your mom's house if that's how you feel about that person, right? Understand that you are not glued to everybody that you meet. There are people that you have ignored and left alone already in life. Why do you think you can't do that again? Like, it just, this person that you meet doesn't have to be your cup of tea. They can be. This could be awesome, but they also don't have to be. So allow yourself that space to say, you know what, I'm allowed to try this out. Like, and honestly, at the very least, unless you live in a town where things are so small that there's only one of things, if you found out you ain't like nobody over here, go to the other yoga studio, go to the other pole class, go to the other gym, whatever it is. Like, allow yourself to try something without being absolutely stuck and committed to it. And I think, like, this, remember, this is honestly a rule that applies to everything: making friends, dating, going out, finding a career path. Just all the things, right? Like, you don't have to be stuck there because you dipped your toe in it. Try it out, see how you feel about it, get into the space. And allow yourself to say, okay, this is what this feels like. I'm good with this. I want to interact like this, or I don't want to interact like this. um and allow yourself to walk away, because you're allowed to walk away. More questions. Okay. Ooh, there's another person in the South. She said, I feel like everybody's supposed to be so friendly. But and I don't know when people are hitting on me. That is a real thing. That is hilarious, right? I don't know when people are hitting on me because everybody's so nice. Okay. This is a real struggle. Um, and like, this is also a situation I'll say specifically, right? Like, tell me, and I really want you to know, let me know in the comments if you agree, right? Hey, but right, like, when you grow up as a fat girl and you start getting cute, like people start liking you being thick and stuff like that was frowned upon when you were young, right? Um, and people start being friendlier to you, you're like, what's going on here? What's happening? What? And like, and it feels wrong, right? Anybody else? Yes, yes. I know. Right, at least that's my experience, right? Like, so when you're just, it's very confusing, and I've had right, who sent you? And it's weird. And it's just all of a sudden it's so strange. You're like, okay, now people are perceiving me as hot, perceiving me as sexy, as cute, as whatever it is. Before, I was fat 20 minutes ago. I don't understand how this happened. And like, so it's weird, and you're in this space where you're like, I don't even know how do I, are you being nice? Are you being nice? Are you trying to get something out of me? It's a weird feeling, right? And so to transition to a place of living where it's like, oh no, everybody's just, you're just like this, or most people are like this is strange. I don't, how do I, are you hitting on me? I don't like you. Are you, you're married. And like maybe, I mean, listen, we all know married men, it don't matter. But but it will be like, okay, so no, you're just being nice. Okay, maybe I should respect that. Maybe I am not the person that people need to be mean to, but people have been being mean to me. I'm sorry, I'm going back to read the comments. Yes, right. So I already have trust issues, so it doesn't help. Exactly. Like, what do I don't know what you doing here. Right? Yes, 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 yep. Y'all know. Um, so it's a weird space to be in, right? And you're trying to understand, like, how do I interact with these people? How do I talk to them? And then I know for myself, I've said this in a previous live, I always feel like as a girl, a curvy person, I feel like people have always viewed me, not I feel like I've been in situations that have made it clear that people have consistently viewed me in a sexual light, right? And it's like, okay, well, if I at all am nice to you, now you believe I'm hitting on you. So I have learned to be quiet. I've learned to be a little colder, a little more stark in my answers and my responses to folks, because I feel like if I'm too nice, you think I'm being flirtatious just because I have big titties. And like that's not how it works at all. Um that's just not how that works. And it doesn't matter because you viewed me as sexual because I said anything that wasn't mean. Now I was going with what you thought sexually. Mm-mm. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. We're gonna reel that one back in, right? So I've learned to be meaner. And now when people are being nice, I'm like, and it's hard. This is the similar to what I was talking about when it comes to like that soft life transition. Like, oh, soft life. All of a sudden, nah, I had to be mean for people to hear me for so long. Now I gotta be soft. What are you talking about? Like it's there's so much. Right. I was raised right. I have manners. I'm not trying to get with you. That's all it was. Okay, I am looking at more questions. Please add in more questions. Um, sorry. I should have answered this one first. Yes, I did move from New York to Florida. I moved from Jamaica, Queens, literally the most diverse city in the country or world. Probably world. I know what's on our trains. Um, and now I live in Orlando. I moved, packed up all my stuff. Clyde came and got me. Um, and now I'm here. So that was why I'm talking about like just the difference and understanding the difference. And that was a big one. That was a big one that I realized as well. That I thought about the idea of like so body positivity, right? Being comfortable in your skin, understanding how your body works, respecting the limits and the expectations and the possibilities of your the use of your body, right? Um I really had to think about it when it came to the idea that like you could just be in Florida and in hot places, you could just be asked to be in a bathing suit like any time of year. Right? So like in my part of the country, I'm used to like New York like, oh, summer summertime, got to get the summer body ready, which again, I don't preach that stuff. But regardless, it's like, okay, well, that's the deal. Those are, this I'm June, July, August, I might have to be in a bathing suit. For me, again, I don't care. This you will get these roles. It is what it is. But the like the stress of it, right? Like the summer body ready, whatever, those things. If you're a person that gets in your head about that, I don't even know how you live down here. Like I would immediately move somewhere cold. Snowsuit. This is my body. Because like here, literally the options of the times that you could be asked to be in a bathing suit, be it somebody's pool party, be it whatever. Like for the first time for my birthday, I was at a resort pool. Well, yeah, the first time, like except COVID when I can do what I want. But like I was able to do that because I'm here, right? This is just a regular thing. I can do that for my birthday in March. And and that's not an option that I had growing up. There were times it was, it might be a little hot, a little cold, whatever, hovering between snowing and 55, but like that's still not at the beach or at the pool kind of weather. So it was very different. Um, but that being said, now again, I'm here March and I can be in a bathing suit. If I don't feel bathing suit ready all the time, I can't do this. And this is a pressure that I would feel all the time. Right. So like I definitely need to think more through this because this is my process. I'm always like trying to understand where things come from and how why it makes sense the inhibitions that you may have, right? Like one of my old clients was from Texas. And so she's like, "Yeah, it's Texas. It's hot. Like people wear skimpy things and I always feel uncomfortable like I should be wearing the skimpy things, but like I don't know, like I don't like my body like that, whatever." Like that was what we worked through um with her coaching with me. We talked about those things and I was just like, I didn't even I knew it then, like we had the conversation, but now I'm like, oh, I'm living it. I was like, oh, I this makes sense. I'm gonna start asking. I'm going back into the comments for questions. Do people there trip out about your accent? No. But this, yeah, I'm specifically in Orlando. I have definitely on trips like to Miami and stuff. I've definitely like had the interactions of like, where you from? Like, because people can hear it. Uh, but here, Orlando is near Disney, so there's a lot of tourists and things like that. So it's not really so uncommon. And then I don't feel like a lot of people have super heavy accents when I go out to like stores or restaurants or things like that. If we go to like Clyde's brother's house, yep, we're gonna hear this accent. Right. As soon as I opened my mouth, they knew I'm from Cali and Tennessee. Right. Oh well. So okay, that's the thing. Tennessee, an accent. And if when Clyde is in New York, very clear he has an accent. It stands out there more in that opposite way. um, and I'm going back to the other questions. Thank you. Yes, I am loving the vibe. The plant vibes. I've been outside all the time. Like this patio area, I've been in more than our bedroom. Um, were you nervous about leaving New York? I was extremely nervous about leaving New York. I am I lived in New York my whole life. I went into that a little bit more. My last live, go back to last Thursday. It's on my page. Um if you want to hear more about that. But I lived in New York my entire life. So making this transition so weird, pretty scary. But I also am an adult, right? Like I didn't have to do this as a child and I didn't have to do this alone. Like Clyde is definitely very supportive and was very clear about like ways we were trying to get ahead of what's going to happen when I move, etc. Like so I wasn't tackling this alone. And again, it's a matter of closing a gap. Like we were long distance for a long time. So to come together and be able to like live this life is much more comfortable and much more exciting and much more enticing than continuing to live in New York alone. Right. And then like I was in New York and I was staying mostly for my grandma. And then like she passed and it was time. So now I am like I get to step away from that heavy like familial care space and just be able to like be in love again. And it's scary. It's another transition. But it is also like just I'd rather be here than there, right? I'd rather be moving forward than stuck. There was a lot of things that I went through. No need to be sorry. She was 90. It's good. She lived. I am her great grandmother. She's my great grandmother. She lived. We're good. Hey. Right. So taking the time to transition and understanding like this is just a new space to be in. And while scary, it's good, right? Like I left my career. I think leaving my career in the summer was scarier than this, right? Like I believe I can do anything, but when you step away intentionally from your set income and benefits, it's a big I am excited that my business and my like and creating content and working with you guys and talking to people and confidence coaching and teaching yoga, all of that stuff has worked enough for me to say I can live comfortably doing what I want to do and working on what I want to work on. And like I thank God for that. And that is something that my grandma did not have the option to do. right? So I have to live this through. I have to live it to the fullest. I have to continue to pour into this because that was not an option for people like her. And she raised me. There's a reason she made me to be this person. I love watching you in this space. Thank you so much. I am I am getting acclimated myself. You are wonderful. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. I am not an Aries. I am a Pisces. Aries is starts next week. I think it's the 19th, maybe, is the last day of Pisces, or the 20th, because grandma's birthday is the 21st. It's a week after mine. So that she is an Aries. She was an Aries. So I know that it's one of these days coming up. Oh, and today was Janae Aiko's birthday. The Queen, Pisces. Um, so feel free to go to her page and shout her out. Tell her I sent you because I love her so much. Okay, I'm looking for more questions. I think that that's it. If you have more questions, oh, I forgot about this one because my friend is stupid. She said, "I'm so jealous of you being outside," and like she's so jealous of me being outside. And honestly, like this is new. I love it. I love the idea of being outside. I put up a TikTok the other day that I think this is where I'm gonna close. If you have more questions, please drop them so I won't miss them before we close out. But I made a TikTok the other day about taking the time and like just taking a transition, like making the transition, leaving where you are. Because I feel like it's a real thing that we need to understand, and um, we need to feel like it's possible. A lot of people feel like they can't transition and they can't move unless they have a whole lot of support, or they can't leave where they are because they have so much support, because they have so many people, um, because they have a home life with family. I have a very small family, so it was kind of easy for me to move as well. Um, that made it easier in my mind. That might not mean anything to people, of course, right? It might be like, well, you have a small family, you should stick together. We have a small family, we're kind of spread out. I don't feel like I'm leaving 35 people here. I'm leaving like 5 people here, and then I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back. I have this space. I can come back and forth. This again, I'm not the fact that I didn't lock myself into a heavy schedule also means that I'm able to do this, right? My retreat is coming in a couple weeks. I'll be able to plan more travel after that. Um, and right, if you want to get into Costa Rica, remember the link is in my bio. But the idea that like I can do this at the times that I need to and be outside when I want to and enjoy the weather. Right? Like if you're a person that grew up in Florida and you hate it and you sweat all the time and it's uncomfortable, move. I'm not saying you have to come here. Do what feels good for you, right? This the idea, like this is also why you should travel, go different places, see different things. So many people from your hometown are always going to stay in your hometown and not get anywhere ever. That's not necessarily something to be proud of. I'm not saying it's something to not be proud of. You can have your hometown pride. You can have that. But like if you feel like the place that you grew up in or the place you're in right now does not have the space to help you flourish and to help you be the best version of yourself, the version of yourself you want to be. Forget the best. The version of yourself you want to be, then you're not in the right place and you are allowed to leave. You're not tethered down. You're not a tree. You don't have roots. You can go and you can travel. You can get on a plane. You can go somewhere. You can pack your stuff up in a truck and drive somewhere. You can just visit places and actually get to the space that makes the most sense for you, right? Do that. Allow yourself to flourish. I know I used to go to church with a girl who may or may not see this. So hey girl, definitely not talking trash about you. I'm really not though. Like she said that she had really bad like allergies and reactions to the weather, like the way it worked for her body. It didn't work in New York, right? So she shifted and she said, no, it's better if I move here. And she moved, but then she came back because her family wanted her back. And I felt like this face. I don't even have real words because you left someplace where your health was better because these people just said they wanted you back, they missed you. To me, that's not enough. Come visit me. Because you know what? I can breathe here. If you want to take me out of a space where I can breathe, you don't want me to breathe. I'm not okay with that. So if somebody has a problem with it, you send them this. You send them this. You're leaving now? Yes, right? Like pack it up and go. And I'm not saying rush. Maybe you make a plan. Maybe you're the person that stops and you make a plan and you detail a list and you apply for jobs and you get it all like this, right? Um, and maybe you're the person that's like, all right, well, I'm going to put all my stuff in a couple suitcases and be out and see what feels right. You're allowed to be both. You're allowed to be either one of those people, somewhere in between. I'd say I'm probably somewhere in between. And that's okay. You're allowed to take this how you need to take it, right? As far as job market, job security and the job market. If you need to move somewhere where the job market is more palatable for you, more favorable for you, you can ask for more money with a lower cost of living. You can ask for a higher position. You can grow. There's space. Go. There is nothing stopping you but you, right? And then like you said, you made that mistake. Some people they'll go back, and it's a draw. It's hard to step out of it because like it's a draw of familiarity. Your bias of familiarity. This is used. I'm used to this, so I'm gonna stick with it. But sometimes you just got to step away. You have to take a step back. If what you're used to is not working for you, not fueling you, not helping you grow, like on that note, I am out. I'm gonna read these things. Yes, jumping on your mat, going to bed, beautiful. Needed this. I needed to hear this. I'm so glad you were here for it, right? Because these are the things that have come to me. This is also like what I do. I talk to people through my coaching sessions. What is the problem? What are we really facing? How can we really change your life? That's what I love to do for people. So I'm glad to be able to do it. I am glad to chat with you guys. Remember, I am live every Thursday, Thick Thigh Thursdays. Set your reminders. It's always in my IGTV. I mean, all it is. I upload them to my IGTV and to YouTube. So you can watch this on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my page on YouTube as well. There's yoga there. There's this stuff there. There's all of this there. You can see the old lives and kind of, listen your way through. And if you have questions, if you want to be a part of the conversation, jump in the comments. I would love to talk to you more about this. If you have any other questions, I would love to hear them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you soon. I love you all greatly.